Hey, everybody. Can you guys hear me? Are you guys able to hear me? If so, comment. Hey, everybody. Can you guys hear me right now? Perfect. Perfect. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful afternoon. It is 4 p.m. here, Sunday, May 7th. So, you guys saw a special video today, a video that had to do with what I consider the best sound system I've ever had in my lab. Now, throughout the last 3.5 years, you guys have seen a multitude um, amount of systems. Magical, Magnepan, Martin Logan. You have seen, brands that I can't even remember right now. You've seen a lot of things, including affordable brands such as the MoFi SourcePoint 10 speakers, which, by the way, I am probably going to be bringing the MoFi SourcePoint 8 speakers at some point, but that's more towards the second half of the year. If I can ask you to please hit the like button right now, hit that like button so that we can have more people in here today to join us, to be part of this live stream where I'm going to embark on talking about what is it that I have done to my system to really elevate it. Okay. Hit that like button, folks. I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button. It's going to help us get more people here. Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here today. We have about 30 people right now. And I am going to take a look on my phone at this second at a post that I made on the live on the feed of my channel. And I asked you guys, is this the best presentation I have ever had in here? Right now, the poll says we have 77 votes. 73% have said yes, this is by far the best sound they have ever heard at least through YouTube of my system. So I want to say that I am 100% in alignment with what you guys are saying. 100%. Okay. There is no denying in the fact that my system right now is bringing a level of performance that I quite frankly have never ever been in front of, let alone own. By now, you guys know this system is over $1 million, and part of me doesn't like to throw numbers around, but the reality is, you guys want to know how much money it took me to get here, and so I'm doing exactly that. I'm letting you guys know, as far as the finance, as far as the investment that I have made, how much money it took me to get here. And yes, guys, it is north of $1 million. Do you have to spend this kind of money to get the same performance? No, you don't have to spend this kind of money. At the end of the day, what matters is the music, what you connect with. Okay, it's got nothing to do with the system. But I am an audio junkie. I love equipment. I love tinkering. I love playing with components. That's my passion. Music, to be sincere with you guys, music is important, and I'm going to keep it real. Music to me can be enjoyed on any type of system, even headphones, even on your speaker. You don't have to spend any money to enjoy music. Okay, you could be, at a store somewhere and listening to music, through a boombox and still feel the music. Okay, so it has nothing to do with the system. I have never deviated from that. I've always said, yes, the music is indeed the most important part. But if we're going to focus on the music, then you don't need to be spending this kind of money at all. You don't need to. I'm telling you, I'm looking at the camera right now telling you, you don't have to spend this kind of money. But because I am about the equipment, I am about showing you the extreme. I am the only YouTube channel, the only one that I know of that showcases this level of this level of equipment. I don't think you'll find another YouTuber in the near future that is willing to do what I do right behind me. And I'm going to tell you why. Number one, 9 times out of 10, that person doesn't need your validation, doesn't need to share any of this, because at the end of the day, they know what they got. They know the investment they got. They know the components they got. So they don't have a reason to go through the video editing, the painful comments, the feedback that sometimes can be abrasive in order to share what a $1.2 million system sounds like. Another reason why is because probably that person has boats, yachts, and is traveling the world. And why would they want to do that? Why would he or she want to embark on creating a YouTube channel to entertain you guys? No need for that, right? So this is the 2 main reasons why you probably will never see ever another YouTuber do what I do. I think you guys can understand where I'm coming from. It's got nothing to do with the fact that I'm special or I'm trying to be somebody a lot of important. No, it's because of what I just articulated to you. It's too much work. For what? Very little reward, guys, if I'm being honest. Very little reward. Okay, so if you are going to continue to follow the ultra high end, tune in right here on my channel, because this is where you're going to discover the most incredible components, in my opinion, and only my opinion. Okay, the most incredible components in hi-fi. Everyone has a different journey, and I respect your journeys. Whatever they may be, I am nobody to tell you how to spend your money. I want to make sure I make that clear. Okay, so let's get started with some questions. Let's see what you guys want to ask me. Open door today. I am going to highlight questions that I find important so that you can see them on the screen. So when you post questions right now, I have a new software that I can highlight the questions on the screen that I find interesting and that I want to answer. Okay, so feel free to ask any questions you may have right now. Tom, I agree with this statement, Tom. I'm going to highlight this statement. This is absolutely true, Tom. Absolutely true. The music indeed floats. It hangs in the air. It's no longer punishing me. It is just a submersive feeling, if that makes sense. I walk inside the music now. It's a very good question. As far as over treating the room, I do believe you can get out of hand when it comes to treating a room. If you start to embark on these things where you're constantly putting treatments everywhere, eventually your room will be as quiet as a morgue, okay, as a funeral. Too quiet, okay? And I do believe that there has to be a balance when it comes to treating your room. I'm no expert when it comes to room acoustics. I must say that. But I have heard rooms that are overly treated, and the system essentially feels dead, lifeless. It has no air. Oftentimes, the high frequency begins to never sparkle, never come out of the speaker, reach out and touch you, if that makes sense. Because by the time it's trying to travel through the airwaves to touch you, all this room treatment completely negates that effort. So yes, there is such thing as over treating your room, in my opinion. It's a good question. When do I think I'll be satisfied with my system? I think satisfaction sometimes is a personality trait. And let me explain what I mean by that. Sometimes you are just not satisfied with how much you lifted at the gym. Maybe you're tired of lifting 180 pounds and you want to get over the hump and finally get to 200 pounds. And that's your goal. Once you get to 200, now your next goal is 225, right? So sometimes being content and satisfied is a personality. It's a form of saying, I'm done. I don't want to continue. I'll stop here. Nothing wrong with that. My personality, unfortunately, isn't that way. And in a way, it is also one of my biggest flaws is the fact that I am never content. I'm always pushing the envelope. I always want to find out what that next step looks like, oftentimes endangering my own health along the way. And I'm being honest with you guys. I'm not trying to lie or BS you or anything like that. I'm being real, okay? So for me, I don't see the end anywhere anytime soon. I think the end when it comes to my system will probably be when I am ready to retire. Hopefully, I make it that far in life. And I'm just at a point where I have no more energy and interest in doing this. At that point, I will isolate myself and find throughout, because of my, of course, my experience, I'll find the system that I want to settle with. And believe it or not, it might not even be an expensive system if I'm being honest with you, okay? Because my priorities will shift at that point. It's a good question, Gary. Do I have another playlist? Gary, I don't have another playlist right now on Cobos, but I might be able to create one. I used to have one. It was called Jay's Audio Lab, but I think the moment I canceled my plan, that playlist went bye-bye. So I probably have to log on again, probably have to pay for Cobos again, and then just create and reactivate my playlist. Okay, but it is available on Tidal in case you want to try it out. Tom, did I use esoteric? Tom, I did not use esoteric. My esoteric N01XD is up for sale. In case you are interested, please always visit my website, jaysaudiolab.com. Go to my on its way out or for sale section where you will find everything behind me, everything that I own. Eventually will make it to my website first before I embark on advertising on other websites. So always, if you are interested in buying something from me, check out my website. Okay, everything is usually for sale. Everything. Okay, so inquire if you're curious about a piece. Now, to get back to your question about the esoteric, it was not part of this video that I released today. Video, as you saw in the background of the video, it was the MSB Select 2. Okay, so it was the Select 2 along with the Takeo Extreme Music Server, which I'm getting ready to talk about. Will I review Borison? I have already given my opinion about Borison speakers. If you visit my website, jaysaudiolab.com, you will find information about Borison loudspeakers. Okay. If you want to know my take on them, visit my website. That's all I can say. Yeah, the Martin Logan 13As are great speakers. Okay. I believe right now they're 15K. Great speaker, man. Great speaker for the money. Great speaker for the money. I have always been a Martin Logan lover. I have owned every Martin Logan speaker, I think, available right now, every panel available right now. So I've had them all. See Alexis, 13As, 15As, Martin Logan Montes, Martin Logan, the other one, Ethos. I've owned the Martin Logan Neoliths. I've owned every Martin Logan panel, electrostatic, that that I can think of. Okay, so I've always had a thing for panels. I love panels. Folks, right now it's so busy right now in my lab right now that I am really um first of all, I'm getting ready to head out to Germany in about 10 days. So those of you who are going to the show in Germany this month, I will see you there. If you see me, just look for me. You'll see my logo on my chest and my back. Okay, say hello. So I'll be in Germany soon. Right now, I have not had a chance to really fine tune my system. Okay, fine tune my system. Let me explain what I mean by that. I haven't even installed footers, so they're still on casters. The group delays on the side of the speakers are not perfectly tuned. I still don't know if I have the right angle. I don't know if they could be even farther out into the room or towed in or more separated. I still haven't done that because, as you know, my boulders got here about a week ago, maybe 10 days ago. Okay. So, what you heard, believe it or not, and it's sad to say it, was not even a properly set up speaker. And yet, look at the comments on that video. Everyone, I'd say 90% of you are blown away with what you heard. Now, I know some of you guys are not Wilson Audio lovers. I know some of you guys despise the brand. Some of you guys just hate it. I personally don't have a problem with the brand. I don't have a problem with any speaker brand, if I'm being honest. But I do believe in being honest and truthful. And even if you hate Wilson Audio, you can raise your hand and say, that was a killer display of what this system is doing. You can raise your hand and admit that what you heard today was mind-boggling. Even if you're not a Wilson lover, be honest to yourself and say, you know what? I hate Wilson, Jay, but it was phenomenal what I heard. And when it's phenomenal, I'm going to tell it like it is. So as long as you guys can agree to that, I think we are on the same page. We have to look at the system, though. It's not just the speakers. It's everything else behind it. Brings me to another point. Boulder models, Boulder 3050s. A lot of people have always commented how dry and unnatural the Boulder sound is. A lot of folks continue to say, Jay, it just doesn't do anything for me. It's fast, but it's dry. It lacks soul. It lacks this feeling of musicality. And I'm going to answer to you guys right now. Boulder is a blank sheet of paper, okay? A blank sheet of paper. Your job is to draw on top of that paper, okay? Now, if you have no way of knowing how to draw, yeah, you may want to stay away from Boulder. But I display to you what's possible with Boulder Electronics. I literally display that to you. You guys heard it. Okay, you guys heard what's possible with Boulder Electronics. It's mind-boggling. Okay, it's about how you accommodate the components and the synergistic effect you can drive, and you can make Boulder sound with, however you like. We've heard it a few days ago when I did the comparison of my transparent cables against my own cables, okay? And it was a mixed bag. I think you guys said yes. Some other people said it's too bright. You remember that conversation, right? You guys remember that conversation clearly, right? What happened today? It's the same cables. It's the same cables. Cables haven't changed. I just have had them playing music for 2-3 days now. How come that they're not bright anymore? What changed? That's my point. We went from perhaps a little brightness 3-4 days ago to holy crap, what happened? I just display to you how everything matters, and how you assemble pieces, ends up being the most important part of this hobby. Yes, my transparent cables are tuned for my Boulder Electronics and my MSB Select 2 DAC. I am using the XDMS software from the Takeo Extreme Music server, yes. Absolutely, Stefan. I'll see you at Munich. Come and say hello when you see me. Don't be afraid to say hi to me, okay? Reach out to me. Come and talk to me, okay? How about your Audition Cardus Clear cables? I did, guys. In the early stages, I had Cardus cables, okay? I can't remember the top of the line model. I didn't like them. I thought they sounded really bad with Luxman and also really bad with Griffin. However, it's been such a long time that maybe they need to be back in here for another chance, okay? It's been a long time. I'm not going to say that I'm going to love them, but I can say that my early impressions of Cardus wasn't that great. But again, it was so early in my journey that I've learned so much along the way that maybe now I know how to use that cable even better than before. Maybe you get to see Cardus in the future. Who knows? Will we get Rich? Will I do a Takeo versus Orrender comparison? Rich, I might do that, Rich, but I might do it for my website, Rich. Okay. And again, I don't want anybody to get upset at this, that it may be something just for my website. There is content, Rich, that I simply can't put for every put up put just create and publish for everyone to see. Okay, there is a lot of things that are happening. There are many things that are happening. So I'm getting ready to announce something next week. Until it finalizes, I'm not going to say anything. Okay, so it's probably not the right thing for me to do publicly, Rich, to be honest with you. But maybe for my website, it will be something I'll do. So maybe you can consider my website. Max, I'm not going to talk about this Render N30 Takeo Extreme comparison. Okay, it's not a conversation to be made public, in my opinion. Um, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to have that conversation with someone who talks to me privately. I mean, if you guys are in the middle of buying a music server of this caliber and 30 money, Ineos money, you're talking about the Takeo Extreme. If you are in the middle of buying a music server like that, you should really look into really consider a consultation with me. I mean, that's the bottom line. Do not spend that kind of money without doing a consultation with me, because I see it like this. If you have that kind of money to afford a music server of that caliber, of that price point, you can afford to hire me for an hour so we can talk about this step in your audio journey. Thank you, Martin. I'm glad you guys like the stream. Hit that like button, folks. Can you guys hit that like button so we can call on more people? I want to have a lot more of a crowd right now. I want to make this a productive afternoon with you guys. Hit that like button, please. Sounds good, Kenneth. Let's have a beer. It's on you. Appreciate it. What happened to the Hi-Fi Rose streamer? It's here. The Hi-Fi Rose is for sale. It's available on my website for sale. If you're interested, inquire about it. It's brand new seal. I never got a chance to opening the unit. I was supposed to use it, but I have so many things coming my way, folks, that I unfortunately had to make a decision, which was for me just to sell the unit, because it's just not going to have a place in this ultra revealing system at this time. Gary, I don't think you're going to see the Hi-Fi Rose. I don't have any plans, to be honest with you. I have a lot of things coming, guys. Folks, put it this way. Okay, I'm going to share with you what I have coming. And listen to how crazy this is. Listen to this. Listen to how crazy this is. I'm still not even done with the XVXs. I haven't even put them on spikes. You know that. Okay. And haven't tuned them yet. I'm planning to hire someone to fly into town. It's going to cost me about $3,000 to $5,000 to hire the right person to set up the speakers properly. Okay. One of the two top guys, speaker setup guys, Jim Smith, I think is one, and the other one is can't remember. His name is escaping me. I just forgot the name. And I'm thinking about flying one of them in here so they can come and do their magic for 8 to 10 hours. I think is what they take, setting up the speakers, measuring the room, doing all kinds of things. So I haven't even done that, but I'm going to tell you what I have coming already. Okay. I'm going to share one item. You ready? One item. An item I've never had in my lab, but I'm going to tell you guys what it is because you're here with me in this afternoon. I am getting the flagship Dart Zeal preamplifier. Yes, $73,000 line stage. Dart Zeal battery operated line stage, the latest version. If you go to the Dart Zeal website, you will know the line stage I'm talking about. That unit should be at my door at the end of next week. So I'm super excited to finally own a Dart Zeal product. You have no idea how excited I am about this. So you all will get to hear, even though I can't buy the monos right now because I have a lot of other amplifiers laying around here. Maybe one day I will, but at least you'll get to hear for the first time a Dart Zeal preamplifier connected to different amps. We're going to connect it to my Boulder monos. I may connect it to my Pass Labs and see what happens. And maybe other amplifiers that will show up eventually. So you guys should really be excited to see Dart Zeal finally at least one flagship product of theirs in my lab. So stay tuned for more on that. Hey, thank you, Costa. Appreciate it. What's more important, the source or the hard drive? The source or the, I guess you mean the music server. Right now, to be honest with you, the source is key. Okay, both of them are just crucial. The source is so crucial to what you're hearing. So crucial, guys. Everything, all the money you put into your system can go to waste the moment you buy a crappy source. Remember that. Appreciate it. Thank you for the praise. Thank you for all the flowers you're giving me for that support. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate it. You see, guys, what do we got? The Takeo Extreme installation. It's just the Extreme Music Server with the Nordus network switch, which is called the QNet, and the Q source power supply with the upgraded DC cable for the power supply. That combination costs $6,350 USD. In addition to that, I must say that what you heard, although it was the Takeo Extreme, I want you guys to understand one thing. And I mentioned this earlier. It's a system. It's a system. It's not just a Takeo Extreme. And that Takeo Extreme is using one power cord, one Ethernet cable from my cable line, AAI, Authentic Audio Image. On top of that, it is sitting on top of a $9,000 stand. And all that matters when it comes to the performance of this music server. So do not think for 1 second that I just grabbed the music server and threw it on the floor and plugged it into the outlet and I was done. That's not the case. You're hearing everything else around surrounding that music server. Would I consider an end game system? There. How am I gonna, let me see how I can say this. That's a question that I've asked myself a few times, especially this week. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be blunt with you. Why not? I woke up thinking exactly what you're asking me. Could this be my end game system? Here's my only problem with that. It's a hell of a lot of money. It is a massive amount of money. Can I keep it? Sure, I can keep it. No problem. I don't have to sell it. I don't need the money. I don't need to sell. I don't need to sell it to stay afloat, if that makes sense. I can hang on to my system behind, no problem, and be okay financially. However, I know myself, and I'm a very, very curious person. I know in a matter of months, my eyes will be turning in a different direction. I am headed to Munich. You guys are aware of the level of electronics that I'm going to be listening to over there, right? I may come back, and I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to say this, but I may come back from Germany and begin to list everything else that's behind me, everything behind me. because maybe I found something completely different that I never heard in Germany that I can't forget, that I can't even just live without. That may very well happen. I mean, I may come back from Germany and put up for sale my XVXs, my Boulder, my MSB, everything all at once. Because maybe, who knows, I heard a system with different electronics, a different speaker, and I feel like I need to have it in here and I got to buy it no matter what. That could very well be the case. And this is what makes my channel interesting. I can change direction like this. You've seen it before. So don't be shocked if that's what happens when I get back from Germany. I just don't think that I could afford the Magical M9s. Um, I'm okay financially, but I don't have those deep pockets for a Magical M9. That's a lot of money, guys. That's a lot of money, and quite frankly, I don't even think I have the room for a speaker like that. I need a bigger room than that. That's a huge speaker. When I saw it at the factory, folks, it was a huge, huge, huge speaker. You have no idea. I don't even think it fits through my door. That's a nice, Rene. That's a nice system. Very nice system. Apex with Magical M6. That's killer. Kent, I would never consider 6 REL subs and all of that because, first of all, I don't think my room is big enough. I'm already really tight when it comes to room. Number two, I do understand the benefits of having subwoofers. It's not necessarily just bass. It's more about the transients. It's more about this body that exists throughout the frequency range that speakers just have a hard time pushing out. Okay, so I do understand 100% the value of a subwoofer. There are things that subwoofers do that speakers just simply can't do. Okay, I get it. But I can say if I were to buy subs, I would just probably, if I were to stay with the Wilson speakers, I would just buy the matching subs for these speakers. If I'm staying with Wilson, it's just logical. I would buy the matching subwoofers for the speakers. Have I heard? But no, I never heard it. No, haven't heard that. Okay, let me see. Okay, guys, I am looking at a couple of questions. Give me a second. See what questions you guys. Oh, this is a great question right here. I think you guys are going to want to know this one. Best setup for under $100,000. That's a good question. Are you sitting down right now? Are you sitting down right now? All right. Take it from me. This system that I'm about to mention is definitely under 100 grand. And I'm going to tell you something. By far, this has been one of the most surprising systems right now that I have owned under $100,000. I'm going to tell you what that is. Okay. It consists of Wilson Audio DAW, Boulder 866 integrated with the built-in DAC, okay, the one that it comes with, the one that you pay extra for. My cable line, my speaker cables, my Ethernet cable to connect the 866 into the Nordus network switch, which you have to have too, the network switch with the power supply, and my Strom tank. Plug in your 866 into the Strom tank. If you do that, you are going to be in for a treat. You are going to be blown away beyond belief. That system got, I assembled that on the fly, not planning it. And when I got done assembling that system, I almost wanted to just keep it and sell the rest. I'm not even kidding you. It was phenomenal what I heard. Phenomenal what I heard. One of the best systems I've had under 100K. But remember, it's everything I outlined, not just the Sashas with the 866. I said it. The Nordus network switch with the power supply, my cable line, and a Strom tank, which you need a Strom tank to plug the 866 into the Strom tank. The Strom tank makes a massive difference on the Boulder 866. You have no idea the massive difference that made on that 866. To me, that's been probably the best system under 100K MSRP that I've had. The importance of hi-fi stands cannot be overlooked. When I started my journey, if you go back to the early days of my channel, you'll see stuff on the floor, which I still can't believe I was doing. But it's a learning lesson. Remember that. You're supposed to grow as you go along on this journey. And I'm going to tell you that for me, stands are just a must. A stand is so important, especially when you're pressurizing the room and components are vibrating, especially when you listen at loud volume levels. It is so important also with components that don't have the best construction, components in which maybe the chassis is just weak, not the greatest in terms of isolation. It is absolutely mandatory, in my opinion, to have at least footers underneath your components. It's like saying spikes under the speakers. Huge difference. It just, you cannot overlook, if you're getting serious about the system, about the hobby, you got to have isolation devices. If you are slinging expensive components with your speakers on wheels, yes, I have mine on wheels, but I already explained to you why. Okay, speakers on wheels, and you are also putting your components on whatever stand you found in your backyard, whatever pallet you located. You're putting your components on freaking cardboard boxes for lack of stands. You're not a real audiophile, in my opinion. You are a music lover trying to assemble a system, but you're not serious about your system. And that's the difference. Stands are a must for any well-designed system. It's not just the aesthetics, because yes, they also enhance the look of the system. They make the system a lot neater and more polished looking. But the sound is, in my opinion, vastly improved. DeepNet Audio. Consider Area Surround amps, DAC speakers. Yeah, I liked Area Surround when I heard it at the show at Expona. I thought it was one of the better presentations. This is why I highlighted the room. It was a great room, and mind you, those rooms are crappy for everybody. So yeah, I agree. I think they're onto something. I do believe that they look incredible. Their components look incredible. The construction, it's very esoteric looking, meaning it doesn't look like your average component, right? They look very different. They have great looking chassis. The design, I like the fact that they open up the hood, they pop the hood and let you see inside the component, so you understand what you're paying for. So I know Area Surround is supposed to be phenomenal digital gear, phenomenal amplifiers, and I have no reason to doubt, that they're capable of performing at the level of my electronics here. It's just, to be honest with you guys, I haven't had the opportunity to connect with them because I'm kind of doing my own thing, and oftentimes I follow my gut, meaning whichever direction my system takes me, that's the direction that I follow. Whatever idea I have, whatever new things come knocking on my door, that's typically what ends up happening for me. So it's hard for me to follow a specific path because of the fact that I'm so random oftentimes, and I like to do my thing a lot of times. Snake oils. What are the snake oils in the audiophile sphere you could point out? First of all, let me say this. If you believe music servers are snake oil and you're serious about your digital, please refer to today's video where you hear my system at its all-time best. If you are one of those people that think a music server is nothing but a computer and you can use your MacBook Pro or your Windows computer, your Microsoft, Dell, or HP, and you have the same performance, again, I don't want to argue with people who have that mentality because I'm never going to win. But I want to tell you, you are so wrong. I have been down that road. I have owned MacBooks in here. I've had computers. I have had no music server. Sometimes I'm just streaming directly from the Ethernet. And to be sincere, the only component that really impressed me when plugged straight into my router, nothing else, no music server ever, the only component that I was very impressed by is the $120,000 MSB DAC behind me. To me, that is the only DAC that has really impressed me without a music server. It really made me question the need for a music server. The rest of the DACs that I've owned all benefited drastically from a music server. Now, I'm going to pivot from that point and I'm going to move into something else, which is my new music server. This music server, the Takeo Extreme, has completely redefined sound reproduction for me at home. Completely reconstructed my feeling, my opinion on music servers. Music servers matter, folks. Music servers are so important for a digital front end. You must consider a music server at some point down the road. If you don't have the money right now, yes, you can get away with using Roon and streaming directly. Or if you have a DCS, you can just download their application and then stream that way. You can do that. And it's going to sound killer. When you put the right music server behind that DAC, your jaw is going to drop. I promise you that. Do not overlook the importance of a music server. A quality music server will elevate everything you play through your system. All the streaming capabilities, all these digital formats, including local files, will be greatly enhanced by a music server. Think of a music server. If you're wondering, Jay, what the hell is a music server? Can you give it to us in layman's terms? What does that even mean, Jay? We want to know. I mean, why do we need a music server? I'm going to try to explain it to you in just an easy to understand format, okay? So you connect the Ethernet cable from your router, right, into your music server. Then from the music server, you go out to your DAC, and you can go out in many different ways, typically AES. You can go out also through USB. Those are the main two types of connections. I believe there's another one, but I'm not really familiar with that, okay? So you come out of the music server, USB or AES, into your DAC, right? Whichever DAC you own. Okay, so what you're doing is essentially grabbing all that filthy information that's coming from Tidal, from Qobuz, from Spotify, whatever it is you're streaming. That music server, which is a dedicated computer, audio computer, completely tricked out to enhance your music, okay? So what it does is it takes it in, takes all that information. When you hit that play button on your iPad, it hits those music servers, extracts the music, buffers it, cleanses it internally through multiple ways, depending on which brand we're talking about. Or Render, Takeo, they all have their different magic. It processes everything. It does this thing. It cleanses it. It sanitizes that music, pre-digests the music, and it sends it out into your DAC. Now, when it comes to your DAC, now your DAC has a much easier job at giving you a better performance because now the incoming signal is cleansed, it's cleaner, right? It has less dirt, if you will, less noise. You see what I'm saying? And so now the DAC is in position to do even a better job because you have just given it a much pure signal. That's the easiest way to explain what a music server does. In addition to that, you can also put files. Music servers tend to have memory inside, so you can put 2 TB, 4, 6, 8, whatever it is, depending on the brand. So now you have a storage inside that music server where you can go out, buy music, and put it, drag it, and drop it inside the storage, the memory storage of this music server. So now your files exist on this music server that you can just push a button on your iPad and play music that is stored on this device. And now those files also sound even better because they're living inside that hard drive, that dedicated hard drive for your music. So that's the easiest way without getting you guys completely confused about the importance of a music server. That's why it's so important. Now, yes, some of you guys are going to ask me, Jay, but why do we even need that? Because our DACs are supposed to do that to begin with. Agreed. But a DAC is not the jack of all trades. A DAC is like this. It's trying to be the jack of all trades, but it's not. It's the master of none. It's good at that. Never as good as a music server, because now you have a separate computer taking care of that part. Instead of the DAC having to do all that stuff internally, which it can, but never at the speed and accuracy of a standalone music server. Hopefully that explanation has just given you an easier understanding of what a music server does, okay? My Kent, my distributor, my power conditioner is always StrongTank right there. Okay, that's all I use. StrongTank is the only thing I utilize. I don't use anything else for power. I am either going into the wall or I am going into my StrongTank. That's all I use. I don't use any other power conditioners. Roberto, yes. A nucleus is okay. You get away with stuff, okay? But it's a little affordable piece. It's not a real music server, okay? Every DAC, as I mentioned earlier, every DAC will benefit from a music server. Every DAC, okay? Regardless of the brand. Even my crazy expensive DAC behind me benefited from a music server. Trust me on this. Doesn't matter what brand it is. Can you use a nucleus, a Roon nucleus? Yes. It'll get you by. No problem. But it's not going to be the same as a real music server from those brands that we are accustomed to seeing, like the Render, Ineos, and of course now the Tico Extreme. And I'm sure I'm missing many more that I'm not familiar with. Yes, I believe I have found system synergy. I think that's exactly what I'm experiencing right now. I think I've dotted my I's and crossed my T's perfectly now. And that's why I'm blown away with it. That's why now I'm afraid of starting to plug stuff in elsewhere, do this, do that. I don't even want to do that, guys. Honestly, I don't even want to do that, if I'm being honest with you. Okay. I don't want to mess around. I don't. I'm afraid of that. As a dealer, I represent StrongTank, Acoustics, which is the acoustic panels for your room. I also represent what's the name of the brand? Artisani Audio, and my cable line Authentic Audio Image from Slovakia. Okay, those are the and ISO Acoustics too, the footers. Okay, those are the brands I represent. Okay, so there will be more at some point, but I'm strategic. I do not put my name behind anything I do not believe in. If I don't believe in something, you're not going to see Jay's Audio Lab as part of the dealer network from a specific brand. You're not going to. You're not going to. Simply, you're not going to. Okay. Things that I represent will be here front and center for a long time. For a long time. Okay. I don't know. Listen, the downsides of the music servers, quite frankly, I haven't heard any. In my room, I've heard nothing but positive things about music servers. Um, Sonically speaking, meaning I heard in my system positive things through my system. But I'm not going to say you're wrong, David. I can't argue with your findings, right? I can't. Now, I don't know if you've heard a Takeo Extreme music server in the past, but I can tell you that it is special, very special music server. An integrated for my Wilson Audio puppies. Honestly, I'll be honest with you, Doug. I still recommend the Boulder 866. I just feel like my DAW sounded amazing with my Boulder 866 and my power cord from my cable line AAI. If you can afford a StormTech at some point, even better. If you cannot, buy a Boulder 866 with the built-in DAC, and buy a quality power cord, hopefully from my cable line, and a quality Ethernet. And I think you're going to be quite happy with the results. That's correct. That's it. That's the reason why your PC could never work um, as good as a standalone music server, because the music servers are dedicated computers that are tuned, fine tuned for music. Okay, they are isolated. They have isolated their transformers, all the CPUs, everything is isolated. Okay, with performance in mind. That's not the case with a regular computer, because a regular computer, it's not really with that in mind. It's just a chassis thrown together. And also remember that a lot of these computers are all about the numbers they sell. So they are going to cut corners just to get the product out and for someone to buy it. So that's important to keep in mind. Look, the cable, the Ethernet cable, guys, matters. But listen. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not gonna waste your time, and I'm gonna tell you something that is not true. If you're getting to the point where your system is just right there, tuned to your liking, then I would say yes, consider a quality Ethernet cable, because quite frankly, you have gone through everything already. And if you're still using a cheap Amazon Ethernet cable, it would bother me, to be honest with you. So if you've done everything else, your electrical, your isolation, your room treatment, I would say leave the Ethernet cable for last and then call it a day. I have found that Ethernet cables make a difference. I have found that. But is it going to make me do backflips and make me feel like I got a new system? No, that's a lie. Okay. It's not going to do that. But it will give you some benefits, but it's not going to be day and night. Keep that in mind. Joel, you're asking me if at some point I plan to represent some brands of electronics, even speakers. That thought has crossed my mind, but I don't see that happening tomorrow or next week or next month or maybe even this year. I cannot predict what the future holds, but I can tell you that if I continue to grow and really believe in things that are shocking and amazing for me, and I simply want to continue to utilize and display on my channel because I believe in them, then it's only going to make sense for me to do so. However, I have to be very careful with that, and I have to be very strategic with that. I can't embark on having everything. I have to still be objective if I am going to continue to give you guys reports about my opinion on different gear. Now, one thing I can tell you is this. I'm never going to say to you that let's just be hypothetical, okay? Let's just say I am a Wilson Audio dealer today. I'm not going to come out here and tell you, okay, guess what, guys? I'm a Wilson Audio dealer. I am not a Wilson Audio dealer. This is hypothetical. I'm saying it, okay? So I'm not going to say to you, okay, yeah, guess what? I'm a Wilson Audio dealer. And tomorrow I'm going to tell you Magico sucks. That's a lie. Magico doesn't suck. Right? It doesn't. I am going to also say it's a great brand. I've had it. I have nothing bad to say about it. It's a great brand. I want to be that type of person that even if I stand behind something, whatever that may be, I give you a perfect example. Transparent cables. I don't represent Transparent. I don't. I've owned them successfully. I liked a lot of what they do. But I just feel like my cables for the money bring a lot of performance, right? Does that mean that transparent cables are no good? No, I never said that. I never said they're garbage, trash, throw them in the dumpster. I never said that. You never heard me say that once. They're great cables. I just simply wanted to find something that brought a lot of performance for a lot less money. That's all. That's why I found my cable line. So I'm not, you know, bashing the brand or anything like that. I still talk to Transparent, if I'm being honest with you. Now, speaking of cables, I have reached out to MIT Cables. Okay, MIT Cables. I believe they're out of California. I reached out to them last week. I am inquiring about their top of the line $100,000, $110,000 cable. It comes with a huge box, this big box in the middle. We talked. I spoke to the owner, I believe, of the company. We spoke for like 30 minutes. He looked at my YouTube channel. We have been emailing back and forth, and I think you might see MIT Cables in my lab at some point down the road. He is interested in loaning me not the top of the line, but he said he wants to introduce perhaps like somewhere in the middle of the pack, as far as cables, and he wants to see my system as far as like itemizing what I have, and then he might send me a loom of MIT cables for me to try. And then we can maybe even do a video together, him and I, where I am going to interview him and I'm going to ask him questions such as, what do you say to those who say cables with network boxes and cables are trash? They're just useless. It's the wrong way of doing audio. Any sort of like, it's the wrong way of manufacturing cables, right? It's not an approach that a lot of audiophiles believe in. And he said he would be willing to be on my channel and educate all of us as to why network boxes are so beneficial when it comes to speaker cables. And I believe even their interconnects have network boxes. I don't know off the top of my head. So that video might be something interesting. And let me tell you, cable videos are videos that do very well on my channel. So don't be shocked if you see an interview with him and I, and we go at it, and he can articulate to us what makes a great cable. I think you guys are going to love a video like that. So stay tuned for more. Can I run my boulders off the Strom tank? Unfortunately, these boulders cannot be run off of the Strom tank because they are 220 volts and my Strom tank is 110. If it was 220, maybe, I think, but you would never be able to capitalize on the 1500 watts of pure class A that each amp needs. Okay, each amp is supposed to have a dedicated 30 amp outlet. If I'm being honest, I don't think the Strom tank would have sufficient power to feed both amps if you're really cranking the amplifiers. I think you probably could, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Strom tank doesn't hold a charge for longer than maybe 2-3 hours. All I'm going to tell you, Ray, is if you hear my music server and you bring me your computer and we plug it in here and we make a bet, you're going to leave my room with less money than you came in. That's all I'm going to tell you, Ray. Bring me a regular computer that you like and we put it up against my Teco Extreme Music server and we make a bet. Let the system talk. Let the system do the talking. And I guarantee you, your pockets will be empty when you leave my room. That's all I'm going to tell you. Saul Samir, listen. USB cables make a huge difference. It's one of the most important cables, in my opinion, um, when it comes to digital. I dare to say that the USB cable that you use is probably the most important cable right after the power cord that you use on the back of the music server and your DACs. So I would say power cords on the DAC and the music server are number one. And then after that is the link between both, whether it's AES or USB. That is the next most important digital cable right there, USB. Okay, so then after that, of course, the Ethernet cable. And by the way, when I give you guys responses, I'm giving you responses based on my trials here. Okay, I'm not trying to make you buy something. Okay, I'm just telling you flat out my findings. You all you can do is take note and use me as a reference point and say, hey, if Jay said that and he's not selling me anything, I need to look into this because I mean he feels pretty passionate about what he's saying. That's the only way you should see whatever I'm telling you guys. That's another reference point. Nothing else. This is a good question in regards to the Strom tank. This question is actually a question that I am confused with. I personally don't think that the power cord you use should make a difference. The power cord you use to charge the Strom tank should make a difference. But part of me feels like it does too. Now, I know you're gonna call me nuts. You're gonna say, "Oh, here we go again. He's crazy. How can the power cord that you use change the way the Strom tank sounds when it's a battery?" Then we can also have an argument and say, "How the hell does a power cord change the sound of a preamplifier? It's just the power cord. It's just feeding it power." I don't know. I have no clue. But I think I am starting to believe that even the power cord on the Strom tank makes a difference. However, if you buy a Strom tank and all you have is the stock power cord, believe me, you're still going to benefit from being completely off the grid with the Strom tank. So it's still incredible, incredible, incredible with a standard power cord and plugged into the outlet. Yes, the Audio Journeyman. I only use Artesania audio stands. I don't care for any other stands at this point. I only use Artesania audio stands. That's all I use. I like the way they look. I really love the way they look. They're not bulky. They're not massive. You can buy different sizes and shapes. To me, it's one of the best audio stands available to us today. Okay, Marcin, my cable system. Take note, guys. Take notes. I am going to answer this question that Marcin is asking. The system that you heard today, the system that you heard that everyone was blown away by, was my Wilson Audio Chronosonic XVX. The entire system was using my cable line authentic audio image, the Assoluto models. Actually, let me take that back. I had Assoluto everywhere except the interconnects. The interconnects where the Maestoso, which is the middle, the model right under the Assoluto. So my interconnects are not even the flagship model of my cable line. And yet you guys know how the system is sounding. You guys are absolutely floored by it. Okay. For music server, my Takeo Extreme music server. For the network part of things, I'm using a Nordos QNet switch, network switch, with the optional Q source power supply and an upgraded DC power cable that plugs the Q source into the network switch. For cables, for power cords, I'm using again my cable line to feed power into the Q source power supply. And this Q source power supply is plugged into my Strom tank right behind me, right there. Okay. My line stage is the Boulder 3010 sitting on my footers for my cable line authentic audio image. So my Boulder right there is sitting on footers, and so is the power supply that you cannot see that's right underneath on a stand. Okay, so those are also on my isolation devices for my cable line. Yes, they do sell isolation devices. In case you're wondering, check them out on my website. Amazing. It's a transformational experience what these footers do. And let me see what else. My source is my MSB Select 2 DAC, again on isolation footers and using my Assoluto power cords. Okay. But I have to come clean about something I didn't say. When you heard that performance earlier today, I just noticed that my system, my DAC, wasn't even plugged into the Strom tank. It was plugged into a standard Home Depot $20 outlet. Yes. I'm actually in shock still that it sounds so good. And it wasn't even plugged into my Strom tank. My DAC was not even plugged into the Strom tank. It was plugged into a cheap $20 outlet. And yet, you know the results. So there are so many other things that I have to do here in the system to really dial in the last 5-10%, squeezing. I think I can squeeze out another 10% from this system. Okay, I believe I can. So that is in a nutshell. My boulders are the Boulder 3050s. Okay, standard power cords connected into their dedicated outlets, 20, 30 amp, 220 volt outlets. Okay, that's my system. Well, PS Audio Regen. I mean, listen. I think PS Audio is great when it comes to customer service. I mean, I like what the guys do. You know, I really do think they're passionate about their business. I'm always going to give them a lot of respect for being there for their customers. There's never a man left behind at PS Audio. They're amazing. Okay, so I'm always going to give them that. But what I will say about PS Audio is, yeah, I do agree that they're hitting a certain budget. Okay, a budget that has to have the right price performance balance. Okay, I believe that they're not at the level of the heavy hitters, but I don't think they're trying to. I think that's not their intent. I think their intent is to give us quality products at reasonable prices. I think that's their mission objective. They're not trying to go after heavy hitters. And they're not trying to do that. That's not going to pay their bills. They're trying to stay at a particular price point, like 30K and below. They're trying to steal sales at those price points, and I think they do really really good at that. Shunyata is a great company. I mean, I can't say anything bad about it. I've had a lot of Shunyata cables. I've had a lot of Shunyata conditioners. Great company, great cable company. I will never say anything bad about Shunyata. I've owned it on multiple occasions. It's a good company. I'm not sure I'm going to go back to tubes anytime soon. I think the closest to tubes I'll get is this new Darzeel preamplifier that will arrive next week. Okay. In addition to that, I also have another loudspeaker. Can't believe I'm telling you this. Do me a favor and hit that like button, guys. Can we hit that like button to get more people to join us? I'd like to get a couple of more people. Hit the like button, folks. Yeah, I just told you guys, but I have another loudspeaker coming. That will be here after I come back from Germany. Now, the intent is not to make that speaker a replacement for my XDX. To be quite frank, right now, there is no replacement for my XVX. If I'm being honest, I haven't met the speaker that I think could potentially dethrone the XVX in my room. I haven't. Does that mean it doesn't exist? No, clearly not. But that's the beautiful part about me heading out to Germany in about 10 days. I'll get to hear, for instance, I'm curious to hear this brand called, I think it's called Martin from Switzerland. I've been wanting to hear Zellaton speakers. I've been wanting to hear all kinds of, even title speakers. They're top of the line title speakers. I want to hear the top of the line Karma speakers, the big Veyron series. I want to hear the extreme. So I feel only loudspeakers of that caliber can come in and put up a fight. But right now, from what I have seen at shows, I'll keep it real. I don't think any speaker I've seen at a show makes me want to sell my XVX. I'm not gonna lie to you. Does that mean they suck? No, that's not what I'm saying. I said for me, I feel like my speaker is better than any other speaker I've seen on an audio show as of late, at least this year. I do not have any other speakers. Unfortunately, I don't have any other speakers at all. My only room is the room you see right behind me. I don't have anything else. That's all I got. Because my wife doesn't want anything else in the living room. And plus, my daughter is going on 7 years old, and she can have sticky fingers at times. So no, I don't gamble like that. Yeah, I want to hear that Martin brand from Sweden. That's a brand I want to hear. So stay tuned. I am looking to go after Martin. I want to hear that brand. I hope they have something comparable to my XVXs so that I can see how they are different, because I got to believe they're so different. Yeah, title speakers I'm gonna see soon. I plan to see title speakers. I just don't know if I want to embark on bringing title speakers. There are a few offerings. I'll be honest with you. I got a couple of speakers that are being offered to me from Title for a good deal. But I haven't really decided on doing that. And one of the reasons why I don't feel like spending $5,000 the moment I take out a tweeter. I have heard horror stories about Title. I'm not gonna say more than that. Okay, I have heard horror stories from dealers about title speakers. And I haven't made a video about them because it doesn't benefit me at all. To be honest with you, it doesn't do anything for me but create drama and then create, all this animosity when I get out there and cover shows. So I'm not going to speak more about that other than the fact that dealers have said a few negative things to me about title when it comes to driver replacement and the cost associated with that and how long it takes to get things, replacement parts. So I'm not going to embark on that. Okay. The truth. I'm telling you the truth right now, but I'm not going to go into details as to what else they've said to me. Let me see. You know what I want to do for you guys soon? I want to actually do a video and a comparison video of title against Cobos with this system behind me. And this is actually an interesting point I want to make for you guys. So I would love to, and maybe at some point I will do a Cobos versus title comparison here. So this system, I think this is the ideal system. This is the best way to compare both to see which format is better than the other, right? Is it true that title is better? Is it true that Cobos is better? I keep hearing that Cobos is better than Title all the time. Is that the truth? I think my system may have something to say about that, right? What do you guys think? Would you guys love to see a shootout of Cobos versus Title? Maybe pick five different songs from five different albums and then do a comparison video? I think that would be ideal, right? Given the level of transparency that my system has, I think it would be great. But what I wanted to say is this: if I hear it, let's say there is a difference between both, right? Cobos and Title. If we were to select quality recordings as well as not so great recordings, and let's say we came to the conclusion that through my system, Cobos is better. Let's just say that were the case. Don't assume for 1 second that that will be the same in your system, because maybe your system is not at the level of the system as far as resolution. So maybe in your system, you're going to be scrambling thinking, I hear no difference. I don't know what that J guy is talking about. He's out of his mind. There's no difference between Title and Cobos. It's the same. Remember what I said to you. My results and my findings sometimes are not translated into systems that are perhaps not at the level of resolution that this system is. It's all levels, right? Remember what I told you about the Ethernet cable? If I'm telling you that there is a slight difference with an Ethernet cable in my system, and think about my system at face value, what it is, right? Chances are you're probably not going to hear a difference, that much of a difference either, with an Ethernet cable. If I can barely hear it, I promise you, you probably won't hear a difference. Okay? So always remember that. When you hear things, when you can't hear a thing through a highly revealing system, and let's say you go to somebody's house and they have a system that's just far better than yours to a whole new level, and you can't hear a difference when you make a cable swap, let's say an Ethernet cable in that system, that is all you need to know, that you probably won't hear a difference in yours either. Okay. Assuming that you know their system is way better than yours. Assuming that you know that's the case. Okay. That's what you have to remember. The more revealing the system, the more it highlights the differences between different components, cables, whatever comparison you want to make. But it doesn't mean you will find the same results in your own system. Remember that. Well, I do care about resale, David. Unfortunately, I do care about resale. I cannot buy things that I have to put in my will. I cannot buy components that I have to call bulk trash to come and pick it up when I'm done with it, or donate to my local Salvation Army to sell. I have to be strategic about what I do here, David. I cannot embark on buying everything just because it sounds good. Okay. The reality is, I rely on you all to eventually either buy it from me or from whoever else, that's selling the product. Because when I'm done, I need it gone. I don't need it to stick around here for 3 years. It does me no good. Do you realize that if I was never strategic about what I do here, I would have never gone through as much gear as I have. If I had embarked on buying the wrong components, I would have never had the money to keep pushing forward. Never. Because I would still be stuck with those items that I couldn't sell. So remember, for me, the resale value matters tremendously. It has to be taken into account. I have to. Every time I buy something, I have to. Not only do the numbers need to matter to me, but I need to figure out if tomorrow, God forbid, I'm in an emergency, something happened, I had a family issue, something, I need the money. I gotta have something that I can get rid of. The truth. I have to. And I'm not here to do this and take $20,000 hits every time I want to sell a product. I could never sustain that type of financial damage. And I'm being honest here. Hey, man, thank you for the donation, man. I appreciate the money. I appreciate the help. Most importantly, I appreciate I appreciate your support here. Okay. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to me. It means that you really care, and you are really a huge fan of me. So I appreciate the support. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them for you. Okay. Thank you again for that donation. Thank you so much for that donation, man. I really appreciate it. Once again, man, I'm speechless. Maybe this is the money that I need to pay off my trip to Germany, which is costing me like $4,000. Okay. You're not asking me, but I'm telling you because I'm having an open discussion with you guys. So I appreciate that donation. Let me see your question. That's a hard question. That donation is putting me on blast, man. My system right now, or the Magical M9S system I heard at the factory. Taking into account the room and everything, would you still prefer what you have in my room? Wow. Man, that is a very hard question to answer. Wow. That is hard. Let me think about how I answer that question. And I have to answer it because you supported me, you donated. I feel like I owe you an answer. So I'm going to have to answer that, man. Okay, let me think about this. Do I prefer the Magical M9 room that I heard at the factory, or do I prefer this? Two different sounds. Number one, two different drinks, vodka and tequila, completely different. Number one, first and foremost. Okay, they do the same thing as far as giving us sound. Okay, as far as giving us expression, as far as trying to take us to the venue where the performance took place. The Magical Room is by far, first of all, it's a supreme room. It's not, my room is like their bathroom, okay? The truth. Okay, so their room, that room is next level. I mean, next level, okay? So not only is that room, in case you do not know, I think it's like $1 million just for the room. I think that room is $1 million without the components. The room, the build is $1 million, let alone the speakers and the electronics. If I'm being honest with you, I'm not a fan of the electronics they had at that room, the Magical M9. I don't care for the electronics. If you need to know what they are, I'm sure you can find them online. I'm not going to mention them to not have anybody hurt anybody's feelings. Okay, but um, I wish that Magical would have had my Boulder Monos, because I had Magical with my Boulder Monos, and I know what Magical can do with Boulder Monos. Okay, so for right now, based on the combinations that we have, that they have over there and I have here, I would say I prefer my room, because my room is set up for me, for my liking, for what I think sounds good. But that doesn't mean that room over there sounds bad. Do not get that twisted. That is not what I'm saying. That room is set up for shock value and to really blow people away, but it does it in different ways. If that room had my Boulder gear, I would say I probably would prefer that system if that room had my Boulder gear. Okay. But for right now, because this system is assembled for me and I've done it, I'm the one who's done the work. I prefer my room over the Magical M9 room. But again, it doesn't mean that room is bad. That's a hell of a room, man. Hopefully that answers your question. Thank you for that donation, man. Great way of putting me on blast, okay? Terrible way of putting me on blast. Oh, wait a minute. Todd, you're killing me, man. Todd, thank you, Todd. Thank you for the donation, Todd. Man, you guys are being amazing today. My God, man. Thank you so much for that support. Thank you for that donation, Todd. If you have any questions while I'm live streaming right now, please let me know. I'll answer right away, okay? Thank you again for that support. Tom, MSB versus DCS, both are great DACs. Amazing DACs. I've had the pleasure of owning DCS Vivaldi, Rossini, although not the Apex models. And A lot of people say the Apex is far superior. Okay. But if I am going to be honest, for me, I still think MSB is superior. Does that mean that you're wrong for liking DCS? No. Does that mean DCS is trash? No. It's a matter of opinion. I prefer MSB. Now, again, I have not owned the new Apex models from DCS. So fair is fair. I would have to bring the DCS Apex and do a comparison for me to give you a more current opinion on both DACs. The next tweaks I'm considering are I am going to be buying the Takeo Extremes network switch along with that power supply that they have. And I am going to be selling my Nordos QNet switch along with the Q source power supply and the upgraded DC cable. I'm going to get rid of that because I don't think it has a place right now for me, and I'm going to go after what Takeo builds for their music server. In case you must know, that's what's coming up ahead, and then I might lift the Boulder 3050s and insert my footers from my cable line AAI under the Boulders to see what kind of results I get. I have a portable audio headphone setup, and that is just like a Samsung Galaxy Buds 2, I think it's called. That's what I use. That's what I use, and I'm happy with those. I don't want to oversaturate my hearing with headphones too. I want to save my ears for my system only. If I want to blow my eardrums, I want to do it with these things, not with headphones. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh man, thank you again for the donation, man. I tried to give you an answer. I promise when you guys donate, you don't have to. It's out of your heart. If you want to, I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Okay. So when you donate on the live stream, you pretty much have the right to put me basically force me to answer things that I normally would never answer. Okay. So I feel like I owe that to you as much transparency as possible. So really, really thank you when you make those donations. Again, it's not mandatory. You don't have to. I know it comes from the heart. So it means a lot to me. But I appreciate your support. Okay. So I try to answer that question as best as I could. Okay. I don't know if I'll answer that publicly again, but at least I gave you an answer for your collaboration and your support. OCD Mikey was here recently, as you know. OCD Mikey, we chat, we text, and I've been very honest, to him. I feel like he feels his own path, his own journey, and I follow mine. He has his definition as to what music should sound like at home, basically through a system. He has his own way of approaching that. I have my own. He's been very vocal about the fact that he doesn't like Wilson because he thinks Wilson audio is analytical, and so is MSB according to his standards. I'm nobody to change his mind when it comes to that. It's his opinion. We all have an opinion. My opinion is different. I'm sure your opinion might be different too. Okay. Now, a lot has been said about playback design. I do think a shootout would be definitely a beneficial thing. But remember, he is in Georgia. I am in Florida. It's like an 8 hour drive. So it is quite a hike for him to come down here. And it is easier for him to come down with a DAC than me having to take my whole system up there. Okay. So and I know he has friends here, so he comes down often to visit people. I don't have any friends up there, so for me, it's kind of like I don't have a reason to go to Georgia. But he has more like reasons to come down. He has clients here, so maybe for him it's a lot easier to just bring down the DAC when he comes next to visit. And I'm always open doors with him, so that's not a problem. Now, of course, people out there want to embark on kind of creating some sort of like conflict between him and I. And I got to tell you that there isn't any conflict behind closed doors for the simple reason that he's a grown man. I mean, he's older than me. Who am I to change somebody? Who am I to tell an older man how he should approach this hobby? I'm nobody. So if Mike says controversial things out there, he has a strong opinion about different brands, and he thinks digital is better than vinyl, and he thinks playback design is the best DAC in the world, and he represents it because of that. Kudos to him. I don't. I don't have a dog in that race. I don't have a horse in that race. Sorry, I don't have a reason to kind of bother with that and change his mind. Why would I do that? I don't get anything out of it. That's what I'm saying. Whoever buys from him, whatever he sells, would never buy from me, whatever I sell when I'm done with it. So it's and vice versa. Whoever buys from me, Griffin and whatever it is that I am getting ready to sell, will never buy from him because he's a different mindset than I am. We approach things differently. So I think you guys need to make that decision as far as like which YouTuber you want to follow. It doesn't hurt my feelings if you like his channel better than mine. I great. At least you have something you are passionate about. I'm happy for you. Or you like some other channel. Great. It's awesome. That's why there are many options in life, many colors. So that you choose the one that really identifies with you the very best. Okay. But yeah, so I don't know if he's going to bring the playback design anytime soon. There are no plans right now, but I think a comparison needs to happen. Definitely needs to happen sooner than later between his DAC and my Kronos turntable. Okay, have I heard some Coda amplifiers? Coda amps, never heard them, but I have heard great things about that amplifier. I just have never heard it, guys. To be honest with you, never had the pleasure of it. I've heard great things, just never had the pleasure of owning it. Curtis, it would be great to do that amplifier, but to be honest with you, my Mark Levinson is just, man, it's heavy and it's too hard to get out of there, man. It's very uncomfortable where it is. I would have to move my boulders out the way, and man, that's so much lifting, man. For what? I mean, maybe I'll buy a Mark Levinson at some point and play with it, but for me, right now, there's no desire in doing that. I wish I could. I wish it was that easy, but it's very hard to do, especially where it's located right now behind my main system here, all the way in the back of the room. Yeah, they had Piliums at the Magical M9 factory. Yes, I believe that's what they had. Piliums, which okay, I guess it's great stuff. I heard it there, but it's kind of hard to know how much of the sound was attributed to the Piliums as opposed to the Magical M9s. What I can say is I know exactly what Magical sounds like because I've owned about 6 pairs of Magicals, including the M6s. So I'm clear on the presentation from Magical speakers. I just felt like I personally feel Boulder is a better match with Magical through many trials. Boulder and Block Audio. To me, those are the top two amplifier brands for Magical. Boulder, Block Audio for me are the best two amplifiers I've heard with Magical loudspeakers. Griffin sounds amazing. However, with Griffin, you have to be careful with some brightness. If you don't have the right cables with it, if you don't have the right sources or the preamp, you might be in a deep hole with Griffin and Magical, because the synergy can get a little bright. Yeah, Carlos. I mean, I can't say anything. He is, he has his own opinion. I mean, I can say that when I heard his system, I can say, you know what? I mean, it had a big sound. It didn't have the resolution that mine has. Had a little too much bass for my taste. Okay, and he actually said that my not my XBX. He said that my XLFs could have used some more impact. I remember he said that about my XLFs, that they could have used more impact. But I thought his system had too much bass for me. So there you go. I mean, look, he thinks mine is too lean. I think his is too much bass. I don't think his system has the level of resolution that mine does. I don't think I'm saying something nuts. I think that's the truth. His system does not have the level of resolution that mine has. Does that mean it sounds bad? No, I mean, I don't think so. But it isn't really my cup of tea. Is he going to be mad because I'm saying it's not my cup of tea? No, because we have different journeys, different forms of expression when it comes to sound. So, I think his system sounds good, but I wouldn't take his system over mine. I wouldn't probably take a lot of other versions of other systems that I've had here over his. I wouldn't take my lesser expensive systems that I've had here over his. So does that mean his is trash? No, that's not what I'm saying. Okay. So he has an opinion. Like I said, I have mine. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I don't feel like the way his sounds is something that I would build for me. Personally, too much bass. Detail is there, not at the level of resolution that my systems have. Not even close. In my opinion, doesn't have the same level of resolution than mine. There you go. Yeah, absolutely, Bill. That was one of the best presentations I've had. The S7 took me a long time to dial in. And when it was done, it was phenomenal. I agree. Magic OS 7, when I got done with it, it was flying. It was at its all-time best. No doubt. No doubt. When I let go of that speaker, I had done everything I could possibly do with that speaker. And I was ready to let go because I had nothing else to prove to myself with the Magic OS 7. So that's why I sold it. I had opportunities to do other things, and I don't regret selling it. The new owner is happy. He is beyond floored and still enjoying the S7s with block audio and his turntable and Strong Tank and MSB. So he's happy. I would never consider those amps, but I'm not saying it's impossible. So when I say I wouldn't consider them, I am saying I'm not looking for them. I'm not trying to look for them. I'm not trying to find them. I'm not trying to chase them. I'm not making calls to find them. I'm not doing any of that. Does that mean they may not show up on my channel? That's not what I'm saying. Stranger things have happened. Okay? Appreciate it, Tom. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Again, thank you for the support. I have never heard Musical Fidelities, M8s, 500 amps, never. However, I am thinking about bringing the Rotel M8s, Michi, I think it's called Michi amps. I'm thinking about bringing those amps, those Rotel amps that are like, I think they're 15K for the pair. I'm thinking about reviewing those Rotel amplifiers. Okay, so stay tuned for that. You might see a pair of those Rotels pop up. I think it's an interesting amplifier for the money. It's got sufficient power to drive my XVXs. Michael Fremer did a review on them. He was very surprised with those amplifiers, considering the price point. And I think it might be my turn to do the same thing and see what kind of findings I have with that Rotel Michi M8, I think it's called, amplifier, which is not a lot of money, but it has tremendous amount of power. Yeah, maybe that's the case with Griffin. There's still an opportunity for me down the road to get a Griffin Apex. Okay, so the Griffin Apex, unless something has changed, I do expect for the Griffin Apex to show up on my channel at some point. Okay, so don't completely abandon the idea about the Griffin Apex, showing up on my channel. That may happen. I don't think it'll happen within the next 2 months. But I think if I can make a couple of moves here, sell my Past Labs XP32, 160.8s, sell a couple of things, I think I may have the funds to buy the Griffin Apex at some point. Okay, so you will definitely see the Apex. I promise you that. It'll be a matter of time though, but you will definitely see the Griffin Apex in here. You will see. Speaking of Magical M3s, I just told you guys, in case you are just joining the party, I have a Dark Zeal flagship preamplifier showing up next week. I bought it. Okay, this is not a loan. I bought it. You'll see a Dark Zeal preamplifier, the 18NS MK2 with the battery power supply. That will be here next week. My intent is to try it with the boulders. I don't have any intent on buying the 468 mono. They're too much money. I already have an expensive amplifier. I'm not about to do that. The intent is to see what that preamplifier will do with a multitude of power amplifiers that will be dancing in my room throughout the year. So I will be playing with that line stage for quite some time. Maybe it's a keeper. I don't know. Okay, but I think it's been long overdue, sorry, and it's time for me to try something, a flagship product from Europe that I've never owned before. So you'll see a Dark Zeal flagship preamplifier soon. Okay. The Esoteric NO1XD is amazing. It's still here. It's for sale because I have already decided to upgrade to the Esoteric K1X and the optional PS1 power supply. Okay, so you will be seeing the Grandioso components over the next few weeks on my channel. Okay, but I want to make an announcement publicly. I have scheduled for the first time a factory tour at the Boulder factory. Yes, Boulder Amplifiers and I are teaming up for a factory tour soon. So I will be flying out to Colorado, to Louisville, Denver. No, Louisville, Colorado. I'm sorry, Louisville, Colorado. I'll be flying to Louisville, Colorado soon. And you're going to see for the first time a really, really cool factory tour at the Boulder factory. You're going to see the birth of a Boulder amplifier from beginning till the end, all the way up until it's entering their showroom, their sound room, I should say, with the Focal Grande Utopias and all the Siltec cables they have. We are going to be doing some cool videos. So I expect you guys to tune in. I happen to be the very first YouTuber that will go to the Boulder factory to do a factory tour. And you're going to get to see why these amplifiers are so highly regarded across the globe and what makes them so special. So stay tuned for that factory tour. I did the Magical tour last year around September, and now I'm going to be doing the Boulder factory tour that I think you guys would really enjoy. So it's going to be a great video with a lot of production value. Stay tuned. There are so many things happening in my lab a lot of things that I'm trying to align for you all for the next 6 months. It takes a lot of effort and collaboration from different sources, different people. It takes a lot of money. So of course, this is why I appreciate your donations, because a lot of those donations are going for these tours that I have to, it's going to cost me always a little more than, what the factories pay me for expenses, because, there's always things that I want to do while I'm out there. And so I do greatly appreciate those collaborations, those donations. You don't have to, like I said, when you do, I know they come from the heart, and I can't say more than thank you from the bottom of my heart, too. Stenham speakers surprised me, but they surprised me with VTL electronics. Okay. That's the only time I have felt Stenheim has blown me away. Although I hear rumors that they sound amazing also with Dart Zeal products. Okay. I have never heard Stenheim with CH Precision. I couldn't comment on such combination. I want you guys to understand one thing. How many times have you guys commented on Boulder being a certain type of sound that is not attractive, that's too dry, that's not too fatiguing, and unengaging, not emotional? You guys have said that so many times. But what changed today on today's video? It's one of my best performing videos over the last 28 days. YouTube told me, they sent me an email. It is one of my best performing videos for the last 28 days. And all the comments on that video are nothing but positive. Very few negative comments. If you read the comments on that video, most of them are positive, which is leading me to believe that you guys love what you heard. So then what happened to that conversation that Boulder is this and Boulder is dry and Boulder is unengaging and all of that? Is it really Boulder, or is it really you who really don't know what you're doing with Boulder Electronics? Is that the case? It's a great topic for discussion, because you heard the video today. I mean, you all were blown away by it. And it's Boulder gear, my friend. Boulder gear, my friends. Boulder gear, my friends. Amp and preamp. And what happened? That's what I'm saying is, this only comes with time and patience and a lot of tinkering. But once you dial them in, it is tough to get out of Boulder. I promise you. I'm not saying they're the best amps in the world. I've said they are the best amps in the United States, and I continue to stand behind that opinion. My opinion has not shifted. My opinion is still the same. I believe Boulder is still making the best amps made in the United States. I don't care what other brand you can think of. When it comes to solid state and solid state only, I'm not including tubes because that's a different conversation altogether. But when it comes to solid state, in my opinion, there is no better brand than Boulder. You can send whoever you hate right now this video and cue it up to whatever, to the 1 hour and 48-minute mark, and tell them, and I'll repeat it again. When it comes to my experience, my hands-on experience with over 300 amplifiers, yes, you heard that right, Boulder builds the best power amplifiers in America. I don't give a you know what to hear anybody's opinion on this. I'm telling you right now, they build the best amps, period, in the United States. Now, again, built in America. Nothing tops Boulder, period. And that's my opinion. That's a good question. The limitations of my room. Now, let me say this to you. The limitations of my room are definitely a concern of mine. Definitely, okay? Because I think my system right now is as good as it's going to get. But now the room has a lot to say with what I'm hearing, right? Um, but let me just say this, though. If you look at the images from Michael Fremer's room, you know who he is, a very well-known reviewer, okay? I think if you're in the industry, you'd know who Michael Fremer is. Okay. If you look at his room is not exactly a a well-designed room. I mean, look at the room. And he is very vocal about the fact that he feels his room sounds amazing, right? I haven't been there, so I couldn't say yes or no. So, how is my room any different than his? I actually feel my room has less clutter than his. And I'm believing my system sounds amazing. I believe my system sounds phenomenal in here. So, maybe something needs to be said about that. Are these speakers good enough to work in, I wouldn't call them subpar rooms, but rooms that are not optimal? Maybe, because I am blown away, even with boxes laying around right now. I'm creating up right now the Griffin Antillion that has to leave tomorrow for Mexico. And I'm listening to music and I'm still blown away with stuff laying around everywhere. So I don't know, maybe that. But to answer your question, yes, I've thought about a larger room. Unfortunately, I don't think that will be a possibility in South Florida. The cost of real estate, cost associated with real estate is just huge in South Florida. Price of housing prices is just ridiculous here. So if I ever had a bigger room, to be honest with you, it would be probably Jay packing things up, completely disassembling my system and taking my show on the road to another state and perhaps starting a new life in a different state, like maybe South Carolina, North Carolina. I've thought about Texas. My wife and I are constantly talking about probably making a move out of Florida completely, leaving the house here, renting it out because things are going to appreciate here even more. So the cost of my house will be a lot more down the road. Maybe renting it and taking our money and going to another state where we can buy a larger home, much larger, with a massive room for audio. And I can do Jay's Audio Lab MK2, a massive room where maybe the XVXs will be mandatory to fill a room. So I've thought about that. I'm still thinking about that idea. It's just, to be honest with you, I'm not there yet. It takes me some time to make a decision, but don't be shocked if one day I start my channel from a different location and we are in a new city, in a new town, and I'm actually now neighbors with one of you guys out there in a different state. But right now, Texas is one of those states, along with North Carolina. Those two states, North Carolina and Texas, to me are very appealing. Many audiophiles there, a lot of great stores, and I need a location where I can continue to grow my brand. I don't want to be in the middle of the bushes somewhere in the Midwest where it gets negative 10 degrees, where there's my neighbors are freaking, deer and bunnies, right? I need a city where there is activity, where there are audiophiles, where I can make my brand grow. So part of the move, if we ever make this move, has to be along those lines. We have to take in consideration that the fact that we need audiophiles nearby. Okay, that's one thing that I would have to really look at. Okay. Let me see. I'm going to take two more questions, guys, and I'm going to call it a night. I got to pack up a Griffin Antillion. So I'll take two, three more questions, and then I'm gone. So let's see what you've got, guys, okay? I got to lift my massive Griffin Antillion. Please hit that like button, guys. Really appreciate it if you hit that like button right now. If you're joining us right now, hit that like button so this video begins to trend on YouTube and we can get more people to watch it after I end it. Okay, really appreciate that support, guys. Listen, Sid, inviting Michael Fremer would be my pleasure. I would have no problem if he's ever in my neck of the woods. Inviting him. I know my turntable is nothing in comparison to what he has. He's so obsessed with turntables that I would just shut up and listen to him talk about turntables, right? Because that's what he's really the master of turntables. Like it'd be an honor to have him here and just lay his fingers on top of mine and tweak something. Honestly, okay, so it'd be great. But I'm open. I would love to go to his house. If I'm being honest, I would love to go to New York and listen to his system. I think he's in New York. I'm not sure if he's in New York. Maybe he's not in New York. I would love to go to his place and listen to his XVXs with Darziel products and his turntable. I mean, even if it's music that I'm not familiar with, man, I would love to. I may learn a few things for my own system. So I'm always flexible with that. I respect, the road and the foundation he's laid out for a lot of us that are just early into this game. He's got decades of knowledge. So I respect all of that. I one thing is, I've always been respectful of people who have the experience and that I know more than I do. And I'm always going to give him that credit. Okay, always. I don't always agree with what he says, but the respect factor will always be there, man. So if that ever came to fruition, that him and I do a collaboration video somehow of Wilson Audio or whatever, it would be an honor, man. It really would be an honor. I don't have any plans with spectral gears, guys. Spectral gear is a little esoteric for me. I'm not saying it sounds bad, not what I'm saying, but I don't know if I want to embark on it in spectral gear, guys. I don't know. It doesn't really motivate me right now. Does that make sense? I'm being real. Like it doesn't, I don't want to. Doesn't make me want to run right now and go get it. If it lands here, cool. Okay, I have it. Here it is. Don't have any drive right now to get spectral, but maybe one day, maybe it will be one day. I'll hear something spectral at a show and be like, "Damn, this is spectral, man! I need to go get spectral." Maybe that can happen at a show, but right now, guys, that hasn't happened. I haven't had the desire to buy any spectral gear, but that doesn't mean I won't have that itch someday. I hear that there is a new line stage coming from Solution. You're hearing it here from Jay's Audio Lab. Okay. So I hear that there is a new line stage 727, the new 7 series line stage coming out soon. Word has it, word is on the street that there's word on the street, word on the street that there is a product that Solution will be displaying at Munich. So any new products that are displayed at Munich, you will get to hear about them right here. I will make short videos while I'm in Munich. In about 10 days, I will be in Munich. I will be making short videos with my phone. This is a Samsung S23 Ultra. I bought it specifically for the show. So this has got like the greatest camera right now from all the phones available in the market. Samsung S23 Ultra. And I'll be doing a ton of short videos. You guys need to be watching my short videos and liking them because believe it or not, when you like my short videos, it helps the channel grow. Okay, so like those short videos too. So I'll be doing a lot of those 60-second clips. Everywhere I see something interesting, you guys will get it from here, from me, right here. So I expect to get out there and discover new products, new models that we haven't heard here in the US because a lot of brands unveil new products over in Europe first. So believe it or not, you'll get to see special things. Okay, so I expect you guys to stay tuned because Munich is going to bring you so much. I'm going to bring you so much coverage. I plan to do at least my goal. Hear me out. My goal is to do at least 50 videos while I'm in Germany. 50. You are going to get at least 50 videos in about 4 to 5 days. I am getting over there and I'm hitting the ground running, jet lag completely. I'm taking a caffeine pill and I'm working from 7 a.m. until 8, 9 p.m. I don't care. I'll sleep on the plane. But my goal is to get out there and work hard, do coverage, and hopefully find brands that I may want to bring here at some point, network with other brands that never have any entrance in the United States. So a lot of things will come out of Munich. I promise you that. And I am going solo by myself. I'm going all alone. All of this is done by myself. So all I need is that support, those likes. When you start seeing those videos from Germany show up, just like the videos. That's all I ask of you. I'm working 24/7 over there for 4 days straight. I'll be exhausted. All I ask of you is to hit that like button, guys. That's all I want. Nothing else. My Wilsons are 700, about 700 pounds each, assembled, fully assembled. The XVXs are about 700 pounds. I will be there at Munich. I'll land 7 a.m. on Wednesday. A week from this Wednesday, I'll land there at 7 in the morning, and I'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 days in a row, running around all over the show, covering as much as possible. That's funny. Well, guys, that wraps it up for me today. It's been 2 hours and 1 minute. I got to get to pack up this Griffin Antillean that's headed to Mexico this week. I'm exhausted. I'm really tired. But it's been a pleasure as always chatting with you all here, and keeping you up to date with new things that are developing in my lab. There are many more surprises. In case you missed it, I have the new, not a new, but I have a Dart Zeal flagship preamplifier coming in next week. So you you might get to hear it maybe once or twice that weekend before I leave, but we won't get serious with it until I return from Germany. So I expect your support while I'm gone, and I have many more components coming after I get back from Germany. For now, guys, I will say good night or good morning wherever you are. Thank you for that support. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.